Meet Susan. All her life, she did everything she was told was right with money. She clipped coupons, making every grocery trip a strategic mission. She packed her lunch for work every single day, without fail, saving thousands over the years. And she diligently, automatically, tucked away 15% of every single paycheck into her savings account. She watched that balance grow with pride. After 40 years of unwavering discipline, she built a nest egg of over $500,000. But when she finally went to retire, ready to reap the rewards of her sacrifice, she discovered a horrifying truth. Her lifetime of savings wouldn't even come close to covering her first decade of expenses. Her $500,000 nest egg felt more like a puddle. Susan followed all the old school rules for saving, only to find out the rule book she was given was a trap. It was a map designed to keep her financially running in place, a relic from an economic world that no longer exists. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden financial system that actively punishes savers, a system that works against people like Susan every single day. And most importantly, I'll give you the escape route, the new playbook to actually build lasting, life-changing wealth. What if I told you that putting money into a savings account is one of the worst things you can do for your financial future? It sounds crazy, right? We're all taught from childhood to save, save, save. A penny saved is a penny earned, our parents and grandparents told us. But that advice is dangerously outdated. It's a relic from a totally different economic world, a world where money worked differently. The moment saving becomes the destination, you stall your financial life. You can't park your money in a garage and expect it to take you on a journey. It doesn't work that way. Decades ago, when currencies were backed by gold, and when banks actually paid you a high interest rate to hold your money, that advice made sense. Your money was stable, and the bank rewarded you for your savings. But that game is long over. The financial rules have fundamentally changed, but the advice given to most people hasn't kept up. The system is no longer set up to reward savers. In fact, it's now designed to do the exact opposite. Saving money should never be the goal. Saving money should be the tool. By holding your money in cash or a traditional savings account, you're participating in a system where you are guaranteed to lose purchasing power over time. You're on a financial treadmill that's slowly, silently cranking up the speed. You keep running, saving diligently, but the end of the treadmill keeps getting further away, and eventually, you're going to get thrown off. This isn't an accident, it's by design. And it's all built on three hidden traps that snare millions of responsible, hard-working people just like Susan. The first and most destructive trap is inflation. You've heard the word, but most people don't truly grasp its devastating and relentless power. Think of inflation as a silent thief. It's a ghost that creeps into your bank account every single night and steals a little bit of your money's buying power. You don't see the balance go down, but the value of that balance is constantly shrinking. The annual inflation rate in the US at the end of 2025 was 2.7%. While forecasts for 2026 see it potentially drifting down, many economists are concerned it will remain stubbornly above the 2% target, with some projections putting it closer to 3%. So let's be conservative and use 3% for our example. This isn't just a number, it's the reason a gallon of gas that cost your parents a quarter now costs you several dollars. It's why your grocery bill seems to get bigger every month, even when you're buying the same items. Now, if your money is sitting in a traditional savings account, what interest are you earning? As of early February 2026, the national average APY for a traditional savings account is a measly 0.6%. Some of the biggest brick-and-mortar banks offer as little as 0.01%. Let's do the painful math. If inflation is stealing 3% of your money's value and your savings account is earning you just 0.6%, you are losing 2.4% of your money's value every single year. You are literally paying the bank for the privilege of losing money. That $100,000 you've saved so proudly, next year, it will only buy you what $97,600 buys you today. It looks like your balance is the same, but the power of your money has been stolen right under your nose. Over a decade, this effect is catastrophic. That $100,000 left to be eaten by our silent thief would have the purchasing power of just over $78,000. You did nothing wrong, you were responsible, and yet you've lost over a fifth of your wealth without spending a dime. This isn't a risk, it's a mathematical guarantee. This brings us to the second and maybe even more tragic trap, the opportunity cost canyon. Opportunity cost is the ghost of the life you could have had. It's the wealth you didn't build because your money was sitting scared on the sidelines instead of being put to work on the playing field. Let's go back to our story, but let's add a new character. Maria. Like Susan, Maria also saves $500 every single month for 35 years. Susan, being cautious, puts her money into what she thinks is the safest place, a high-yield savings account. In today's market, you can find some great ones paying around 4% APY. Over 35 years, by saving $500 a month at a 4% return, Susan ends up with a respectable $450,000. She feels proud and secure. Now, let's look at Maria. Maria understands the inflation thief. She knows that a 4% return is barely beating a 3% inflation rate, giving her a real return of just 1%. She knows her money needs to do more than just survive. It needs to thrive. So, she decides to invest her $500 a month. She doesn't day trade or try to pick the next hot stock. She simply puts her money into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund, which is just a basket holding the 500 biggest and most successful companies in the U.S. Historically, the S&P 500 has delivered an average annual return of about 10 to 11%. So, let's use that 10% figure for Maria's journey. After 35 years of investing that same $500 a month, Maria doesn't have $450,000. Thanks to the magic of compound growth, where your earnings start generating their own earnings, she has over $1.9 million. Let that sink in. That is the opportunity cost canyon. It's the massive, life-altering $1.45 million gap between Susan the saver and Maria the investor. Both were diligent. Both were responsible. Both saved the exact same amount of money. But one followed the old broken rules and ended up with a retirement funded by anxiety, constantly worrying if her money would last. The other understood the new rules and built a future of freedom and abundance. Susan's money was sitting on the bench, getting weaker every year. Maria's money was an army of soldiers working for her around the clock, capturing new territory and building a fortress of wealth. The final trap is the sneakiest because it's not in your bank account. It's in your head. It's the mindset prison of scarcity. The act of saving as the ultimate goal traps you in a defensive financial crouch. Your entire money world revolves around one primary goal. Don't lose it. You pour your energy into cutting back, scrutinizing every purchase, and anxiously watching your balance, hoping it doesn't drop. This is a scarcity mindset. It's a life built on the fear of loss, not the excitement for growth. You see money as a precious, finite thing to be guarded and protected, not a powerful tool to be used and multiplied. This mindset makes you terrified of what you perceive as risk. You see the stock market's natural ups and downs as a casino, a surefire way to lose everything. You hear the words market dip and you think disaster, while an investor hears the same words and thinks discount. This fear paralyzes you, keeping you locked in the supposed safety of a savings account, where, as we've already established, you are guaranteed to lose purchasing power. Wealthy people operate from an abundance mindset. They see money not as something to hoard, but as a resource to deploy. Their main question isn't, how can I save more, but how can I put this money to work to create more? They are playing financial offense. while the world has taught you to only play defense. It's the difference between asking, "How can I trim $5 from my coffee budget?" and "How can I invest $50 to turn it into $55? Breaking free from this mindset prison is the single most important step to escaping the saver's trap. So if saving is the problem, what's the solution? It's not about being reckless or gambling your money away. It's about a fundamental shift in your strategy. You need to stop being just a saver and start becoming an investor. Your money has to work for you. It must grow at a rate that crushes inflation, not one that gets eaten by it. Here is your escape plan, a simple 3-step route to get started today. First things first, you do need cash on hand for emergencies. The old advice was 3 to 6 months of expenses in a savings account. The new advice is to put that emergency fund in a high-yield savings account, HYSA. This is non-negotiable. As we saw, some of these accounts, often found at online banks, are offering rates of 4% or even 5%. This allows your emergency cash to at least put up a decent fight against inflation, rather than getting totally torched in a traditional account. This is your financial firewall. It's the buffer that protects you from life's curveballs, a job loss, a medical bill, a car repair, so you never have to sell your investments at a bad time. This is your defense. Once your defense is set, you can finally, confidently go on offense. Your goal is not to time the market. Nobody can do that successfully. It's time in the market that builds real wealth. The simplest, most effective way for most people to start is by automatically investing a piece of their income, say 15%, into a low-cost, diversified index fund, just like Maria did. Think of an S&P 500 index fund or a total stock market index fund. You can do this through any major brokerage, often inside tax-advantaged accounts like a 401k at work or an IRA, individual retirement account. You set it up once, and a portion of every paycheck automatically gets invested. This strategy, known as dollar cost averaging, takes emotion out of the game and turns market volatility into an advantage. You automatically buy more shares when prices are low and fewer when they are high. You are building your wealth machine and putting the unstoppable force of compound growth on your team. The gap between where you are today and Maria's $1.9 million can feel impossibly huge. It can lead to analysis paralysis, where you get so overwhelmed you do nothing. So let's shrink it. The most important step is always the first one. Your actionable task for today, right now, is this: open an investment account. That's it. It takes 5 minutes on your phone or computer. You don't even have to put money in it today. Just open it. Whether it's a Roth, IRA, or a standard brokerage account with a company like Fidelity, Vanguard, or Charles Schwab, taking this one small step shatters the inertia. You're sending a powerful signal to yourself that you are changing your identity from a saver to an investor. You are taking your first tangible step out of the mindset prison. Susan's story is a warning, but it absolutely does not have to be your story. For decades, we've been sold a lie that playing it safe with your money by hoarding it in a savings account is the responsible thing to do. But the truth is, in today's economy, the safest path is the surest way to lose. Hoarding cash is a guaranteed loss of value over time. The escape route is clear. It's a shift from a defensive mindset of scarcity to an offensive mindset of growth. It's about realizing your money is a tool, and it's time to take that tool out of the shed and put it to work. Build your emergency firewall in a high-yield account. Then start deploying your army of dollar soldiers into assets that will fight and win the war against inflation for you. Your financial future will be decided not by what you know, but by what you do with that knowledge, starting right now. Don't let another year, or even another month, slip by where your wealth is silently stolen from you. If this video replaced your anxiety with an actionable blueprint, then like this video. If you're ready to make this change, hit the subscribe button. And most importantly, comment below. Tell me one thing you'll stop doing after this, and one thing you'll start. That public declaration is your first step. It makes it real. And if you want to know exactly how to get started with that first investment, what fund to choose, and how to do it with just a small amount of money, turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out on my next video.